Welcome to episode 270 of Destination Linux. Whether you're brand new to open source or a guru of sudo, this is the podcast for you. My name is Michael.
I'm Jill.
And I'm Ryan.
And on this week's episode of Destination Linux, we're going to be talking to Emma Marshall from System76 and an awesome, fun, you can guarantee this interview is going to be fun and happy.
Yeah.
And then we're going to check out the new RISC V offering in the market. Plus, we have our tips, tricks, software picks, all of this and so much more coming up right now on Destination Linux. Real quick announcement for those who are not aware, this episode is only going to be posted on the new show channel for Destination Linux. If you are not subscribed, be sure to do that.
So in our community feedback this week, it comes from Depeche, who writes us to say, "Hey DL, in view of the launch of the new podcast channel," we just talked about that, how exciting, I congratulate you all. Now, the new podcast channel, Michael, specifically every show on the network's going to have its own YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to the content that you want versus coming here and getting hit with notifications all week. Because we have content all week long coming out, whether it's the DOS Geek channel, Hardware Addicts, Michael This Week in Linux, Destination Linux. You've got content all week long coming from the network. So they'll all have their own channels.
Yeah, for those who are wondering about like why we're making this change, well, we had some growth issues a couple of times so far because we've had to schedule like when do we release this episode of this podcast on this this part of the we don't want it to interfere with other shows and when they release, so we decided to spread it out into their own channels to make sure that that's no longer a problem. You can subscribe specifically to each channel you want to get that information. Although if you are just listening to the audio version, you're totally welcome to do that. They're all going to continue to have audio feeds, so that's part is not going to change. Just the way we're doing the YouTube stuff is going to change. And well, it already has changed. So we'll have links in the show notes, but you can check it out right now by going to destinationlinux.network/subscribe, which will have links to everything all in one place.
Yeah. So Depeche goes on to say, "I'm a regular viewer of your live podcast, and I come here weekly to get up to speed on what's going on in Linux. I'm a computer vision machine learning student, and for the past 2 years, I've completely shifted to Linux. I use Kubuntu." Congratulations, by the way, on completely shifting to Linux. That's awesome. I would like to mention one incident that recently happened to me. I went for a project discussion with one of my professors, and he saw me using an OS that was not Windows. So he asked me, "What OS are you using?" I said, "It's Kubuntu, and it's a Linux distro." And his response was, "Excellent." It's like Bill and Ted. Excellent.
Woohoo! Excellent.
Yes. So we got another professor like a Jill, because Jill, you would be excited if a student came up to you and said, "Hey, I'm using Linux distro out there."
Absolutely. And the nice thing is open source and Linux are slowly making its way into the education system. It's happening slowly, but it is happening. And a lot of that has to do with the licenses that they have with Microsoft. So sometimes that's why it's a little slow at integration to our favorite open source operating system. But it is happening.
Really cool about this, Jill, is a lot of people are going to school and you get this sheet if you go to college that tells you all of the stuff that you have to have ready for each class. And a lot of times they would say you've got to have Microsoft Windows, and you've got to use this Microsoft software in order to send your documents and everything else. But we're starting to see a lot more colleges starting to loosen up with that. Like in this case with this professor where they're like, "Hey, you want to use Linux? Use Linux in there." And that's going to open up a whole new realm for us Linux users out there. So I think that's really cool and appreciate you sharing that story there. And you also probably made Michael very happy because Kubuntu.
Well, very, very good choice. I'll have to say, very good choice on that. Kubuntu is a great distribution, especially with the KDE experience. I mean, for those who don't know, I might be a little bit of a fan of the KDE Plasma desktop.
Really? No kidding.
Little bit. I've only mentioned this maybe once every episode 5 times. But KDE Plasma is a fantastic desktop environment. Kubuntu is a fantastic distro for that. So great choice. And I think that what makes this the best experience, one of the best experiences anyway, is that, with Kubuntu, you have a nice, polished, out-of-the-box experience. While I like Plasma for its customizations and the plethora of options you can have, it needs a little bit of work on the out-of-the-box. And Kubuntu addressed those things, and that's why it's a great choice for people who are getting started with Plasma or just getting started with Linux. So if you are considering which one to get and you're looking towards the Plasma, the KDE realm, I think Kubuntu is a good option.
Nice. Well, we love hearing from our worldwide community. What we want you to do is get your official DLN mug. It won't work unless you have an official DLN mug. That's the rumor anyways out there. Fill it with some coffee or bubbly, sit down on the nearest stool, and send us an email to comments@destinationlinux.org. And if you want to join in a real-time community discussion, we, of course, have our matrix and element rooms that you can join, but you can also join the forums that we have on dlnforum.com.
This episode of Destination Linux is brought to you by DigitalOcean. Cloud computing can be, let's say, complex, but standing up reliable, affordable cloud infrastructure really doesn't have to be. At DigitalOcean, you can enjoy a comprehensive portfolio of compute, storage, database, and networking products that put your cloud infrastructure in capable hands so you and your teams can get back to doing what matters most, building world-changing apps that grow your business. You also get predictable pricing structure, great services that developers love, and robust product docs. The tutorials at DigitalOcean are just fantastic. I mean, they have thousands of them, and they keep them up to date, and they're so in-depth, so check those out for sure. And you can also get support at every stage of growth, from teams of one person to teams of 1,000 people. With simple, powerful cloud computing options, you can grow at DigitalOcean. And as a listener of the Destination Linux podcast and a member of the DLN community, you can get started for free. In fact, it's better than free because DigitalOcean is giving you a $100 free credit when you go to do.co/tux2022. That's do.co/tux2022. So again, get started with your $100 free credit on the awesome cloud platform of DigitalOcean by going to do.co/tux2022. And we want to thank DigitalOcean for sponsoring this episode of Destination Linux. We are so excited to have Emma Marshall back on the show from System76, and we first want to give you a very extreme congratulations from the DL family for your recent promotion at System76 to VP of Customer Care. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, I do need to mention, though, before we go on, Emma is the former happiness manager before she became the VP of Customer Care. So we also need to provide a warning to all of our listeners that this episode contains both Jill and Emma. This means there's lots of pink. Lots of happiness is going to happen in this episode. You may experience overwhelming feelings of joy, excitement. You may even find yourself smiling during this interview. We're not sure that your speakers or screens can handle this, but you have been warned that this is going to be happiness overload here.
In fact, there might even be a singularity created of happiness. We don't know for sure. We don't know how the science works, but just it's possible.
It's possible, yeah.
Rainbow unicorns extreme!
Look, I even have my unicorn here
Pink
in preparation.
extreme!
Perfect.
Lots of unicorns.
And to commemorate this special occasion, I've also customized the highlights of my KDE Plasma desktop with pink. And I recently made a video that has a very heavy highlight of pink on my desktop. So you can check that out. I have it linked in the show notes. But before we get into all the exciting toys from System76, we want to know what a day in the life of the VP of Customer Care is.
I start by going over the previous day's repairs and advanced replacements and returns. That way I can study each ticket and review if there's problems or if there's common issues happening either with the technical side of things, with the way we're communicating, or just any overall problems that could be consistent across devices. So helps us troubleshoot if there's one component that's faulty that we need to stop shipping a batch of, or if there's one representative that may need to have a better week or something. We like to be able to catch that quickly. So I like to review all that stuff every day. Then I review customer reviews. So I read every single customer review and rating and survey. So that takes up quite a bit of my day, and it's really fun because we have so many more positive ones than negative ones. So I get to just fill myself with all the happy customers all day long and determine where we're having our strengths and where we can improve ourselves. So reviews and surveys, and that is compiling data on different issues, is a huge part of my day, and motivating the staff. I like to work with the happiness team. I still work very closely with the happiness team, representatives. And when I come across good reviews, I post them for positivity time.
Nice.
So I post those daily and call out different reps. Our team has 13 people. So it's important to keep everyone motivated. throughout the day. I also organized little events, like we just did Pie Day, which was really fun. I ordered like 10 different pies and brought them to the factory, and then we ate them at lunchtime and then in the afternoon, and it was just a really good time. And I also organize our monthly happy hours for the happiness team, which includes like sales and QA and support. So we do like an hour each month where we join virtually, and everyone gets free lunch that day. And then we play games for an hour. And I created this game called Slackers, which is something that we all look forward to every month. Basically, are you guys familiar with Slack at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
So it's a popular chat app that we use. So when people say something funny, I'll have like notifications set up. So if someone says LMAO or ROTFL, something like that, I'll look at the phrase and see if what they said was super funny or nerdy. And then we'll compile those into a game at the end of the month. And
That's awesome.
I'll read the phrase, and then everyone has to guess who said the phrase. And so it gets everyone laughing, and I try to trick people by putting similar names next to each other. So it's like, you think John might have said it, but it was totally Levi, stuff like that.
Love
That's
it.
hilarious.
That is
I want to
awesome.
work at System76 now.
Yeah.
It sounds very happy.
They're awesome.
Like you get lunch parties and all the awards and fun. That's amazing. And it's so important, I think, especially in care, to keep people motivated to be able to handle, because you get the good calls and you also get the bad calls sometimes where people are frustrated and upset, and that can bring everybody's spirit down. So keeping everybody ramped up and high spirits like that is amazing. And that's why you've had so much success, I think, with doing things like that. But I have to ask, what is the silliest or craziest call that you've ever received? Because you guys have dealt with thousands of calls. There's got to be one that stands out as like, wow, that was really silly reason to call, or that was a very crazy caller.
I know this one because I've had to tell this story because it still hasn't been topped. So this lady calls in and she's asking how to disable her webcam, but she won't give me any details. And I'm like, well, I can't. I can tell you how to turn it off and on with the function keys. I just need to know what laptop you have. And she was hesitant to give me the laptop model. And then she assumed that I knew what it was and was saying, I know that you know what machine I have. You have my phone number. You have my name. I know how this works. So just tell me how to disable the webcam. And I was trying to tell her that I can't just give her instructions on, she wanted to remove the webcam. To remove the webcam, I can't just tell her how to open up some random machine,
Right.
So I keep trying to get the serial number, and she goes deeper into saying she's part of Project MK Ultra, and her nickname is Damaged Goods, and
oh my goodness,
insisted. Like, and this was a real call. Like it was dead serious.
Oh, that's sad.
And so I was just kind of going along with it, and I had every intention of helping her, except I needed to know the serial number so I know which model I was working on. Right. And she just thought I was trying to spy on her, and she thought that I had ulterior motives because I wanted her serial number.
Well, that's kind of part of the qualifications to be part of MK Ultra, is to be a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's also weird, but considering that she assumed that you already knew because you already had the data. What's wrong with giving the data again then?
Right. Like, if you already know, then just tell me one more time.
If you already assume that, make that assumption, that it shouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, but the best part about it was it wasn't even a System76 laptop in the end.
Yeah.
I knew it.
She never gave me the info, and finally I was like, because she wouldn't give me the serial info, so I finally was like, well, can you tell me what your laptop looks like? And she's like, it looks like all the other laptops. It's silver, it has an H and a P on the lid. And I'm like,
oh my goodness gracious.
So, but it was like a 10 or 15 minute call, and I thought it was so bizarre and funny, and it was real. It was the realest call I've ever had.
So there's been a very exciting announcement from System76, Emma, about the work being done on your very own desktop environment made using REST. We're all excited about the progress on that. What can you tell us about, and what are you most excited about in this endeavor?
Well, I think it's really going to be interesting to see how much faster we can make the desktop responsiveness. I think the memory safe and the super fast nature of Rust programming is really going to make the desktop a much faster experience and more responsive and tailored to our needs, make you more productive and need less resources from your computer to operate. So that's what I look forward to, is just having it be less resources and just getting straight down to business. But yeah, it should be having an alpha in summer 2023.
Ooh.
So it's a ways out there, but it's going to take a lot of work. But we've grown our development team, and I have all the hope in the world that they're going to get this done just in time.
Nice.
I'm so excited.
I mean, it is a lot of development, so I mean, it makes sense it would take a little while to do it, because you are taking on building a big project with a new programming language that hasn't been used before in this kind of project. So it totally makes sense. But I'm curious, what's the plan of integrating it with the Pop! OS? Is it going to be alongside GNOME, or is it going to be a replacement?
At this point, it looks like it's alongside, but I think the whole goal is to make it its own desktop. So yeah, we'll see where that leads. But as of right now, it's alongside.
Very cool. I'm also curious about Pop! OS itself. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff we've talked about Pop! OS on the show many times because of the different tasks that are able to be done with Pop! OS, like having the different AMD ISO and the different NVIDIA ISO, and then having the options for getting the kernel updates much faster and stuff like that. And Ryan even gave a story before about how Pop! OS was the only option to run on a piece of hardware at the time that he got this new piece of hardware. So I'm curious, what exciting news do we have for Pop! OS coming?
Well, I think mainly the Rust-based desktop. Just Cosmic in general is such a huge project, and I think it's something for everyone to look forward to. And I can't really think of any other main things that are in development that would outweigh the Cosmic desktop.
That's pretty big, doing your own desktop environment. Yeah.
It is pretty big. And I'm also really excited to get the KDE version of Pop! OS.
Oh, yes. One day.
Did it just get announced here officially?
I mean, it's like subliminal messages, but overtly subliminal.
Yeah.
And Emma, I have been really impressed with how well Pop! OS runs on some of my old hardware. So you guys have really optimized it. I got it running on a 10-year-old all-in-one that only had 2 gigs of RAM, and it ran beautifully. Nice. So I've been really, and I use it. It's one of my gaming OSs that I use for gaming. Yeah.
The thing that makes me love, everybody has their own thing of why they love a certain distro, but for Pop! OS, for me, the most amazing thing, a part of it, is the fact of the hardware enablement that you all roll outside of the standard Ubuntu. And that story that Michael gave was when AMD had just released their brand new motherboards and their brand new Ryzen chips. And I was trying, because that was kind of the theme of my videos at the time, to do a video to show, look, this brand new system, this brand new processor from AMD and this brand new motherboard works in Linux, except no distro was working. Arch, it wouldn't work. Ubuntu, it wouldn't work. Nothing. And finally, I took Pop! OS and popped it in there, and you all had enabled this feature that nobody else had enabled to allow this motherboard to boot, because it was an issue that AMD had released, and allowed me to show Linux running on this latest hardware because of Pop! OS. So that hardware enablement is such an important piece, and for me, of what Pop! OS does, and I appreciate everybody who works on that over there. But one of the latest innovations from System76 is your new keyboard, and it's called Launch. And Michael and I both have our orders placed. We both have Launch keyboards coming to our home, so we can't wait to do a review on that. Now, this keyboard is designed, engineered, and manufactured right there in Denver. Tell us why System76 wanted to make a keyboard in the first place, and what is your favorite feature of this Launch device, this Launch keyboard?
Well, we're all about productivity and customizability and open source. So what better way to bring that all together but with a keyboard, the tool that we touch the most during the day. So it should be comfortable and it should be customizable and it should be productive for you, because those are the things that we need in our lives. And making it open source is just our company philosophy. So all the plans, all the CAT designs, everything that you need to make the keyboard, if you have the right materials, you can do. And I think that that's something that's really strong for our company, because we believe in the right to repair. We believe that you should be able to own your actual piece of machinery and make it yours and be able to modify it and repair it yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was a very cool machine. I was actually there yesterday building them. So I might have touched one of yours, because I think we did a couple hundred yesterday.
Oh, wow.
It felt like a couple hundred.
If I see like a pink fingerprint on mine, I'm going to be like, oh, Emma helped develop this.
I know. I had to get a gel manicure because my nail polish for the regular nail polish kept like chipping off, and I kept having to wipe it. And I was like, this is slowing me down.
Right.
So this nail polish doesn't come off. So you shouldn't have any pink things on there. But yeah, if you see glitter on one, that might be me. Sorry. But yeah, we used to install all the switches by hand. That was one of the things that my team, when they needed extra hands, I'd get people to volunteer to go in, and we'd provide lunch and have like a keyboard assembly party. And so
Nice.
we try to bust out hundreds at a time. But now we have a machine that does the switch installing. So now we don't have to have as many of those parties. But yesterday we finally got to have one, and we installed keycaps and PCBs and did all the testing. And it was a great time.
They made our keyboards while partying, Michael. These are going to be happy. These are going to be happy little keyboards that we're going to have in our house.
We got the music going, put all the love and energy into it, and everything's perfect. So,
Oh,
You know, we should have told Emma ahead of time, and she could have pulled out our keyboards and done a little video on it. Like, this is Michael's.
Oh,
and then,
there we
and then I
go.
could have paid you to sabotage it. And then this is
It's
Ryan's.
not
and
a bad idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
would have been cool.
There's still time.
Yes,
Oh.
exactly.
There we go. I want a pink one. I want a
too.
System76 pink keyboard and a pink Thelio and all the things.
So bad. I want some pink powder coating option. I
Yeah.
was teased with this one shade of the Martian red came out, and it was like more pink than red. I loved it, but it just wasn't quite red enough, so nobody used it. But
Oh, it got
one day on
rejected.
my birthday, they will present me with a pink Thelio.
Wonderful.
It will be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
the launch, you can make all your keys pink. You can order different keys.
Yeah, I know that. So that was what I was planning to do when I get
Yeah.
my launch keyboard.
Me
In fact,
too.
I have a rainbow gradient I love, and a
Yeah.
Miami, one's called Miami that I love, and that'll be
okay.
perfect on the System76 launch.
I like what I have now. I have this pink and gray type of shade going on.
Mm.
It's pretty nice. I don't know
Yeah.
if you could see that, but I like the light pink with the dark gray.
I'm shocked
Yeah.
you chose pink. That's a really interesting choice for you.
I'm using a pink keyboard right now, but I can't show it because it won't reach.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that mouse is so fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like it.
One of my
Very
favorite
vibrant.
mice.
Very
have
vibrant.
Yeah, well, here's mine. Nobody thinks it's
Yeah.
fun. All right, fine.
Mine's like gray and
It's not fun either, Michael. Put your
Okay.
mouse down. Our mouses are lame.
they are a little bit.
Emma, I literally have about 40 different pink mice, so I've been on the mission to find the best one, and this small one has been perfect for me because I have small hands.
That's perfect.
And I like having a nice solid mouse click. And this one does. You know, some of the mice have the softer buttons, and I don't like them as much.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm excited about the launch keyboard because I'm very much into the customization and the multi-layer part of the keyboard. So you can have like a regular keyboard and then switch it and have customized macros and all sorts of cool stuff. So
Yeah.
I am looking forward to messing with that because I guarantee you I will create something for running this show and that sort of thing. But it actually reminded me when there was an announcement for the keyboard, it reminded me of a story related to my visit to System76 a couple of years ago. And when we were doing the warehouse tour, I saw all the cool machines that they had at the time to do the development of the Thelio and that sort of thing. But also we had a like everybody had lunch together, which was fantastic. And I remember one of the employees of System76 brought out a kit to create a keyboard. So while there was a conversation like about just general conversation, but also there was a subsection that was like, okay, here how to make the best keyboard, and then like a few months later, there's an announcement that they're going to be making a keyboard. Like, of course they are. That perfectly fits.
So the nerd fights had been going on for a long time. Like the unproductive nature of talking about keyboards was probably just getting too overwhelming for all the departments, because it wasn't just one person. It's like everybody has their own keyboard and everybody's was right and everyone else's was wrong. So
Right,
there was
exactly.
a lot of discussion about keyboards, and we have fanatics. I mean, if you guys watch, we just released a video on Levi, and it's called Make, Build, Create. He's showing off like a quarter of his keyboard collection, which is a ton more. It's more keyboards than I've owned in my lifetime. And they're all different shapes and sizes, but he was heavily involved in the project, and you can just tell that we have
Passion.
fanatics working on this keyboard. So, and you'll be able to notice it once you take it out of the box.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because in Hardware Addicts, when we're talking about different companies that are making hardware and things, one of the things that becomes clear when a company gets to a certain size is they start struggling with that fanatic side. And that fanatic side is so important, because that's where the innovation really comes in. And the companies that you've seen really start to take off lately, like Lisa Su and AMD, right? This is a bona fide engineer herself that came in to turn this company around. So she could talk with the engineers and the developers in a different level than what an executive coming out of a big Ivy League school could, that's never worked their way up from, the bottom to the top in a company. So the fact that you all have the fanatics and the fact that you harbor that culture is why you get so much innovation, I think, because we've seen it time and time again as we profile these companies on Hardware Addicts, that those are the companies that really continue to innovate and not just buy their way to innovation by acquiring another company or something like that. And I think that's what makes System76 very unique.
Yeah, we bring in a lot of, speaking of fanatics, super fans. We have that super fan program where people will try to come out to System76 for a couple days when we treat them to a very nerdy event. A lot of those people that participated in those have actually come to work for us. So our company is full of fans and experts in the Linux field. So
that means never an argument either, right? Never an argument.
Yeah, never.
And one cannot have enough mechanical keyboards.
This
sorry.
is true.
I have over 100 myself.
Over 100? Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Of course you do, Jen.
You could start a museum.
I've got 30 pink ones.
Oh.
And my favorite, like what I'm using now, is a 65% keyboard. That's one of the reasons I'm going to love the launch keyboard as well.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, Emma, there is a cool rumor that you name all your specialty machines after the Simpsons characters. Specifically, the Switch installer for launch is named Herman. What are some of the other Simpsons characters' machines at System76, and what do they do?
So a lot of the Simpsons ones are related to keyboards. We have Nelson. He's our smasher. He likes to smash things. So we smash with no keycaps on at first to make sure everything is responsive and registering a code, and check for LEDs. Then we put the keycaps on, and then it gets smashed 100 times to make sure that each key is registering. So we also have Selma. Since she smokes all the time, it blows air on the keycaps that on the Royal keycap, the Royal switches.
Love
I
it.
mean.
Perfect.
So they test hyperactivity by blowing air onto each key
Love it.
at a certain pressure. And if the key responds, then the switch might be hyperactive or defective. So that's one of them. And then the Switch installation machine, we were actually thinking of calling Willie, the groundskeeper, Willie, because he makes a mess while also cleaning up. And he's always like vibrating or smashing or doing something or making weird sounds.
Aww.
So, and its alarm kind of sounds like a bagpipe.
Yes, of course.
And then we have Ralph. We're making a machine that helps glue the pieces that connect the bottom angle bar. So we have Ralph because he glues himself to things.
Perfect.
Oh, that's so brilliant.
Yeah,
I love
we have a laser named Edison. We have a laser named Breckenridge.
Nice.
Those are more nods to Colorado, I think. But Breckenridge is funny because our founder bought the laser instead of a house that year in Breckenridge. But now he has his house in Breckenridge. But originally it definitely was replaced with a laser.
That's how you know you get dedication. It's like laser first.
Yes, laser then house.
We were pretty excited on the show last time you were here talking about the laser and the fact you have lasers, although you've not given us access to play with the lasers yet. One of these days we're going to get down there and do that.
Yeah, we have lots of lasers now. Like we actively use, I think, four big ones. We have a little one that I don't know where that one went off.
I feel like you need to do Austin Powers names on some of the lasers. Freaking lasers.
Laser.
So System76 also, of course, has its line of laptops out there. Last time we asked you if you would pick for us your favorite laptop out of all of them. That wasn't very nice, so we're going to be much nicer this episode. Just ask you to pick one of your favorite laptops that you think people should check out. One of the many good ones.
I like the Gazelle right now. It has switchable graphics. It's just a powerhouse, has a great CPU lineup. Yeah, I think you can get the GTX 3050 or the 3060 on it. The stats on those guys are pretty hefty. So overall, it's a great laptop for gaming or work or both. So
nice.
That one I would definitely recommend to everybody. It's a little bigger than your little portable laptop, but
get more power out of it.
It has a lot more power.
You know, many people want to buy System76, and there's a lot of people who have looked into it, but they just can't afford the current offerings. Are there any plans to see a $500, $600, maybe $800 range, somewhere around there, for a laptop in the future from System76?
I think $800 range is doable. I don't know if the components we use, we could get margins that low to make them in that price range. But I mean, if we were to use different components, maybe. But at this time, I would just say our lowest is what's on our website right now.
Yeah, and are there any plans to use the expertise learned from the Thelio desktop machines and build your own laptops in-house?
Yes, and that is a very exciting project. So that's one of our other bigger endeavors besides the Cosmic Desktop. So I'm not sure exactly where we are in the stages of that. I know there's discussions, but yeah, the design and everything should start soon, but it'll probably be a couple years before you see that. But definitely on our radar and something we're working towards.
Awesome.
So cool. We could have wood paneling on our on our laptops, and red and blue and maybe even pink.
Pink. You gotta have pink. Yeah. You need to really throw yourself into this discussion, Emma, and be like, we're gonna do laptops. We're gonna have a pink option. Period.
Yeah.
Make them do it.
This is not negotiable.
Exactly.
That there might be like a pink type of theme in Cosmic. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Ooh. So speaking of the Thelio, this is a fully repairable, upgradable, OSHWA certified open source hardware like everything you're doing there at System76. It's designed, engineered, and manufactured in your factory in Denver, just like the keyboard. In my opinion, it's a hardware addict's dream machine. Yeah. We talk about all the things you need for a machine when we are on the Hardware Addicts podcast from different manufacturers and things, and this checks all the boxes, being fully upgradable, repairable, all of those things. Tell us what goes into making each Thelio and some of the exciting things that are available now for this lineup that you have.
It's an incredible machine. So much love and hard work and quality goes into making these machines. It starts as a flat slab of aluminum in our factory, and every process is just expertly crafted. And it's an amazing process. But yeah, you can do AMD, you have Ryzen, Threadripper, or Xeon CPUs. So the range of customization across the board is incredible, and the upgradability of each machine is limitless, really. So it's easily repairable. And every time you buy a Thelio, we donate or we plant a tree in a national forest. So that's another thing that people might not have known about. There's little nice touches, like there's Morse code written on the side. I won't tell you what it is. You have to figure it out now. You have like little mountains as a nod to Colorado, and then the space theming on the back of the Thelio. The air intake is actually the position of the solar system at the Linux epoch.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of
Awesome.
nerdy little Easter eggs go into building it too.
Eat that apple. And you can
Yes.
actually open this up
Eat that
and
apple.
change
Yeah, eat
parts
that
out.
apple.
And you guys don't glue or solder everything together to do this. It's like engineering marvel. Who would have thought that was
And
possible?
you don't need tools, so you can they're thumb screws on the back, and then you lift the case up, and then your components are right there.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
absolutely beautiful. The wood theme that you put on these is gorgeous. I've built my own desktop since I was a little kid. I grew up in a family where we built our own machines. My dad had a shop. This is the only time this machine that I'm tempted to buy somebody else's work because it's so gorgeous and so much geek and nerdiness goes into creating this. I think it's an awesome, awesome machine. And right now there's like a sale going on them. So if people want to check them out, I think it's like $100 off or something I was seeing this week on the Thelios. So something to check out.
Yeah, Emma, someday I'm going to be getting myself a Thelio, and I want to put 2 GPUs in it.
You can totally put 2 GPUs in a Thelio.
Yeah, I know, even up to 4.
Yeah. I was when I was during the warehouse tour. They were building one that had 4 in it, and I was like, why? Why does this need to? Okay, of course, because you can. But
People have their use cases.
Yeah.
You know that AI is power hungry for sure.
For sure.
AI, and I would use it for rendering animation. So
Yes.
that would be the workhorse for the industry.
Maybe 3 of those could fall off the truck and end up being shipped to us, Emma. Just a thought, just putting that out there. Like
That'd be
weird
awesome.
things have happened. Yeah.
But speaking of use cases for different hardware, in addition to the Thelio and the laptops, there's also the Meerkat, which is the 4.5-inch mini PC. And you can use this as a server for streaming or as your main PC. But what are some of the most unique use cases that you've heard your customers say when they're using the Meerkat?
There was one that did preterm AI. Like they were doing AI to prevent premature births and just health defects that could happen, like genetic markers that help you determine if there's going to be a problem at birth. We had a blog article about that, I want to say like 2 months ago or something, but it's worth a read, just seeing what kind of programs they use and how this little powerful machine is able to do that.
That is definitely a use case I would not have thought about off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah. So what other exciting things can we look forward to with System76 this year?
Give us the scoop, Emma.
Yes.
All the secrets.
We're just growing so much. I just can't explain how incredible it's been to be part of such tremendous growth, bringing on all the right people on the bus. I mean, we're just going to drive even further into success than I can imagine. And there may be some new products coming out, like maybe a new keyboard, maybe a new PC.
Woohoo.
I'm not sure, but there could, I can't really talk about what is coming out.
Maybe
but
there could be cool stuff coming.
there could be, but maybe we'll just sit tight for a year and not bring anything out for you guys.
Lies.
I can't wait to see you at scale this year. The Southern
Yeah,
California
I'm
Linux
excited.
Expo, the end of July. Woohoo!
We're actually going to be at Linux Fest Northwest as well. I know that one's online, but we'll be in person. Just me so far, going to scale. So you guys can come say hi, and I'll be happy to do some meetups and come say hi to everybody.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'll be going to scale as well.
Yeah.
Ryan mentioned a couple weeks ago or last week that I might be going. It is now confirmed I will be going. So there we go.
Okay.
Woohoo, Michael!
Awesome.
Oh, I'm going to show him around town and
Yeah,
get
it's
him.
going to be fun.
Yeah, give Michael a good time in LA.
You're going to make him wear the penguin hat, right?
Yes.
The whole time. Okay, good.
Perfect.
Because
Yeah.
you will really stand out in a crowd at like 6'5" 5 or whatever you are, Michael, with the penguin hat on. I mean, I think that's going to look awesome.
For sure.
Well, anyway, thanks for coming on the show, Emma, and thank you also for all the amazing work that you and the team at System76 have been doing over the years. And everyone should go check out their website and see all the amazing machines that are available that we've been discussing. Also, check out Pop! OS. Even if you don't have a System76 machine, you can use that on your existing hardware, and it's a very awesome experience, and it's a great distribution. So check that out. And thanks so much again for coming on the show, Emma. We hope to have you back on the show real soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
This episode of Destination Linux is brought to you by Bitwarden. Get started right now with your free account at bitwarden.com/DLN. A password manager is software that allows you to have peace of mind knowing that your online accounts are secure. Bitwarden provides you the tools to store all of your passwords in a secured vault, auto-generate those passwords for you, and even automatically fill them in on login forms so you don't have to. You can access your data across many types of devices like your web browser, using their mobile apps, your desktop apps. Bitwarden is across all of your devices, so you always have your passwords safe and secure there for you. Bitwarden seals and encrypts this private data with end-to-end encryption before it ever leaves your device, so you know you're the only person with access to your data. Go to bitwarden.com/DLN to get started. And did I mention it's free? You can literally get started with all of this awesome technology for no cost at all. They have all kinds of amazing features, though, that you can unlock for just $10 a year. $10 a year. You get a gigabyte of encrypted file storage, 2-step login with YubiKey, U2F Duo, Vault Health Reports, Bitwarden Authenticator, TOTP, and priority customer support. You also get complimentary Bitwarden Families accounts that are going to be granted to every user of a current cloud-based enterprise plan, so you can bring the password security of Bitwarden Premium home to up to 6 of your family members. Bitwarden is just adding so many awesome features, not only for your personal life, but you can use it at business. You should have it both. You can have your personal life and your business all together. You can get started right now, bitwarden.com/DLN. We want to thank Bitwarden for sponsoring this episode of Destination Linux. So in the news this week, there's more hardware. This episode's full of hardware, full of exciting hardware. Jill, I know this is going to speak to your heart because it spoke to mine, but Clockwork Pi has announced an open source portable terminal using the DevTerm kit form factor that uses a 64-bit RISC V module based on the Allwinner D1. They have other modules out there that they use that have this similar design or form factor that is going to come with this RISC V, but they've been ARM options up to this point, which are fine. But this is the first one that's a RISC V option that you can put into this form factor. Now, RISC V is an open standard. So open standard, we love open source stuff. We love open stuff on this show. And this is an open standard instruction set based on the RISC principles that you'll see in ARM. Many open source enthusiasts are very excited about the future of an open source instruction set and what this could mean for the freedom of your hardware. Now, I will mention the DevTerm R01 in their own words that they put on the website here is highly experimental. It requires experience with Linux systems and FOSS. Gee, where would they find that? Maybe on this show? I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of those type of people here. But you do need experience with Linux systems and free and open source software. But in the box, Jill, this is only $239, number one.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
It's amazing. And getting a RISC processor on top of that. And again, this little terminal, it has a very narrow widescreen 6.8-inch IPS display, which is really high quality. But it's really intended for coding and distraction-free, work in Linux. Yep. So that's why the screen isn't, is the size it is. I've had this in my list of hardware to buy. I had the previous Raspberry Pi version. There are 2 other models. The RISC one is definitely going to be one of my next purchases.
It has to go in the museum. I feel like there's a spot sitting in the museum.
This is why this was made
waiting
specifically for Jill's museum.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like a form factor of a mini form factor of an Atari ST, but with a little screen in it. Or similar to a mini Commodore 64, but contained all in one with a little screen. And it's amazing. It has all the retro look, but with modern features. like USB and USB-C and HDMI out.
Even a
So you
thermal
can-
printer.
And even a thermal, it even has a thermal printer for printing out documents.
When I first
It's
saw
like-
this, I was like, is this for someone who wants to be like a tinkerer who wants to also print out receipts? Yeah. Like,
Yes.
like one of those
Or-
tax calculators or something.
I would use it to print out, hey, I could print out my show notes on it. There we go.
I don't know if you could read the show notes very well
I
on the
couldn't.
little paper,
I'd have
but
to have big font on there.
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely, anything that screams of a retro look, but has modern functionality, I'm all over it.
Yeah.
And this is just beautiful. It's really a neat system.
32 gigabyte high-speed TF card with Clockwork OS inside of it. And
Yes.
one of the things that I think is neat about this is not a device for everybody, right? You have to be a RISC V enthusiast or somebody who wants to work with RISC V on there. Or a lot of writers out there, people who write, want a distraction-free writing platform because your browsers or messages, Element, whatever, things are going off constantly. You're trying to write, but there's always these distractions coming. So the idea behind this, they even talk about it, about these modules. No matter where you are, DevTerm brings you a focused and immersive experience, provides you with an anywhere door escape for distraction-free typing, deep thinking, whether you're writing stories or you're writing code. Those are some of the things that you could do with this device. But it's very early on. It's a tinkerer's device, but obviously it'd be perfect for someone like Jill or something to play with out there. So it's pretty neat.
it's kind of funny how you were talking about this and you were saying it's for a distraction-free experience. Anybody who's watching the video version will notice that I just got distracted while Ryan was talking about it. And it made me laugh. Like, oh, I need this thing for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael no longer gets a
Absolutely.
computer for the show. He has to look at the little DevTerm 6.5-inch screen.
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
distracted.
Exactly. That's how you can keep me focused.
Well, the other awesome thing about it is it's really easy to put it together. I've seen videos of people. It's mostly snapped together with, but there's only 2 screws at the end that
Even
you
you
have
could
to
do
use.
it, Michael. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yes, even I could do it.
And-
I saw the way it was
Yeah.
put together. I totally could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could. And this would be a perfect device for Michael AI.
Oh, yeah. Michael AI.
Your Michael
could run
AI
on this.
storage,
The
yeah.
first
Oh.
AI on RISC V, Michael.
That'd be
And-
cool. That'd be cool. I think it's awesome that they're doing the RISC V thing because RISC V is such a really interesting piece of architecture in terms of what it can do and what it will be eventually. But we're sitting at a stage of like this is in a particular situation of what comes first. Do we get the cheaper products or do we get the high end, super powerful, but they're very expensive products? Like that's where they're currently in the stage. So this is a great device for the purpose of making something that isn't so expensive, but still has a RISC V chip that
Getting
can
in the
give
consumer
you
market.
usefulness. Yeah. So I'm really happy that they're doing this with RISC V.
Yeah, and you can game on it too. It's got the Clockwork Pi has RetroArch installed, and it even has a little
say arch?
gamepad on it, and and arrows
Different
on it.
kind of arch.
Different kind of arch, yes.
Oh,
Retro arch. Different kind.
And it doesn't come with the batteries because of shipping issues, but you can order the batteries on Amazon. I found them, but you can power it with the USB. So
I think this uses the
No problem.
18650 batteries, like that go in
Yeah.
flashlights and stuff. So they're
Yes.
they're getting
They're easy
more
to get.
widely distributable, available for people to pick up. So also in our software spotlight this week, we have a tool, well, you could probably use with the device we just talked about, UpTerm. UpTerm is an open source solution for sharing terminal sessions instantly over the public internet via a secure tunnel. UpTerm is good for remote pair programming, accessing remote computers behind NATs and firewalls, and remote debugging. It's very easy to use. In fact, once you install it, you just type in upterm host --bash and that's it. It's going to give you the key that you need to connect to. Client opens a terminal and connects to the host session using SSH, and you're in. So you can set up a secure tunnel. You can connect to your other computers that are in your home. I did this with my computers in my home just to test this out. Works beautifully there. It's really cool to check out and try out. Jill, have you ever used UpTerm or something
yes.
like it? Oh,
Yeah,
yes. No, cool.
Definitely. And this is something, since we're talking about it, I will try on my DevTerm when I get it.
Nice.
UpTerm
Yeah.
would be great.
It'd be perfect for that. Especially you got that smaller screen, but you could do some of your setup and things on another machine, tunneling into it would be great. Yeah. Or you could use this to tunnel into your bigger machines.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Also this week, we have a tip of the week that is going to be pretty interesting for people. I think that if you might have heard of systemctl or system control in various tutorials, and today we're going to be talking about system control. However, before going through some of the commands with systemctl or system control, we need to mention this is part of systemd, which is an init system and a system manager and a lot of stuff. A lot of people think that systemd is just an init system. It does a ton of cool things, so it's a little bit more than that. But it's used in most of the popular Linux distributions. And you're probably familiar with some of the stuff if you've used it before, like start, stop, enable, and switches, that kind of thing. This allows you to run, start, stop certain services, enable the services, disable services, because sometimes when you need to install something that needs access to be running, you can use systemctl enable and systemctl start to get those to be running, and that's very common. But there's also some other ones. So for example, there's system control shutdown, restart, halt, reboot, and status. And the status is, for example, if you could see if your Bluetooth services are running by doing systemctl status Bluetooth. And there's also systemctl kill if you need to kill a process.
Yeah.
Of course. And there's a lot of other great things. So there's just a few examples of what you can do with systemctl. And if you'd like to learn more, we'll have links in the show notes.
Status halt kill systemctl. Yes. In our announcements this week, Der Hans hooks us up with all the conferences you should be getting prepped for coming up soon. We've got FOSS Asia in April. This will be virtual April 7th through the 9th. FOSS North, which is virtual April 20th through the 21st. Linux Fest Northwest, which will be virtual April 22nd through the 24th. PinguaCon, April 22nd through the 24th. Grazer Linux Tage, virtual April 22nd and 23rd. Linux App Summit, April 29th through the 30th. The Red Hat Summit, May 10th through the 11th, also virtual. OpenSUSE Conference, June 2nd through the 4th, and this will be in person. Open Source Summit North America, in person and virtual in Austin, Texas, June 21st through the 24th. And Scale, where we have confirmed Michael and Jill for sure will be there, and Emma will be there as well. Absolutely. July 28th through 31st. So if you got to pick one, I mean, go to all of them, but if you got to pick one, I'd go Scale because you get to see Michael, Emma, and Jill in one go. I mean, come on.
A lot of them are going to be virtual, so you can go to all of those if you want to. But there was funny when you said the Grazer Linux Tage. When I first read that, I was like, laser tag? That's going to be awesome.
Linux TOG, I think.
Linux laser tag would be amazing,
awesome.
Right?
Exactly.
Oh, we need to do that. Maybe that'll be the Destination Linux conference when we do one. It'll be just laser tag.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It'd be amazing. Would Jill be really aggressive in laser tag?
Guaranteed.
You see her like rolling over through cover and stuff, taking you out, dropping down from a column, and
she's going to be like, everybody go B, go B.
I've played it at Scale, in fact.
I bet you're very competitive, Jill. Yeah. I have this feeling you're very competitive.
Yeah, in IRL. Yeah.
IRL, she says.
No.
Oh, you're such a geek. I love it. All right. A big thank you to each and every one of you for supporting us by watching or listening to Destination Linux. However you do it, we love your faces. We're here every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern live at dlnlive.com. And the best part, everyone is invited to watch the recording of Destination Linux each and every week. We can't wait to see you in the chat.
We also have our glorious patrons would get perks like unedited versions of the show. They also get to hang out with us in the Patron post show, which happens every week in the 60,000 square foot digital stadium immediately following the show. So if you'd like to become a patron, you can go to destinationlinux.org/Patreon to sign up, and you get all those great perks and more that I haven't mentioned because there's just a ton of them that we can't.
Too many to mention.
We just don't have time for mentioning. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also, you should go to dealandstore.com where you can pick up some great swag. There's the Linux is Everywhere t-shirt. There's the Hardware Addicts hat that Ryan is wearing. And of course, the 33% More Jill shirt and coasters and all sorts of great stuff. There's mugs, hoodies. I mean, we can't list it all because there's just so much awesome stuff there. So go check it out at dealandstore.com.
And make sure to check out all the amazing shows here on our wonderful Destination Linux network. We have the Sudo Show, This Week in Linux, the DOS Geek channel, Linux Out Loud, Hardware Addicts, GameSphere, and put your cowboy hats on and join our Saturday Linux user group, Linux Saloon. So everyone head to destinationlinux.network and subscribe to all of these great shows. And don't forget to leave a rating on your favorite app. Click that star or 5 stars and click that thumbs up so
Specifically
others
5
can
stars.
discover the power of open source and keep those penguins marching in the full Monty of Linux and rainbow unicorn open source awesome sauce. Extreme!
Nice. Extreme. All right. After everybody has clicked the 5 stars, be sure to have a great week. And remember that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week. You know what's funny? We talked about in the intro about the happiness thing, of like the intro of the thing you mentioned, like, there's going to be a warning.
Everyone's been warned. Yeah.
It's going to be positive and it's happy and stuff like that. And I've just realized that when we finished the show, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much. Like, it's legit a real warning.
What is that dark hole in your heart doing right now, Michael? Like, is it starting to heal together? Like, are you feeling fibers come together?
I think
heal?
it's been completely replaced.
Oh,
I don't know.
dark
What's happening?
heart is now a pink unicorn.
Yeah, happy
Exactly.
heart. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a unicorn shaped. Exactly.